length of time we can schedule things out, only I think 75 days, right? And so there are people, like you just said, which I didn't know that, you have the account that you plan a whole year. That's crazy. That's
I'm crazy.
I
I'm
love
crazy.
that. So cool to like set and forget. But yeah, that's a huge setback for people who do plan a lot in advance. And maybe it's not so much of a setback, it's something that they have to rework, right?
But I think 75 days is, it doesn't sound a lot in some ways, but you know, that's a fair bit of time really. It's 2.5 months, you know, that it's still looking a fair distance forward. You know, I never schedule anything beyond sort of a couple of weeks. 75 days, I mean, it's a starting point, you know, maybe it's something they'll increase in the future.
Get into the main topic of today. Adam Mosseri, the head of Instagram, has finally announced the scheduling of Instagram Reels, and it goes beyond Reels. He actually announced the scheduling of all type of content in regards to single image posts, carousels, and obviously Reels. But we're going to focus a little bit more on the Reels aspect, and I know a lot of people are excited about that. When I heard the news, I was very happy, but I had some interpretations about it. I want to know from you guys, Alan, what was your first initial reaction to that when you heard the news that we finally have Instagram scheduling built into the app?
Yeah, well, I thought about time, because it's been a long time coming, and it's something that I think we've all wanted for a long time. We've all been asking for it. You know, I use a scheduling tool anyway to make sure that my posts go out as and when I want them to go out. But being able to go away from that if I need to and do it in the app is going to be good. I think it's going to be something I try and see how it works. If it's glitchy or whatever, I'll go back to what I've currently been doing. But hopefully they've got it all nailed down and buttoned down correctly, and it should work. So I'm quite excited to see how it goes. So being able to schedule up some in advance is going to be great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it all works out.
About time, right? I mean, to think about the fact that they've always been fighting all of these third-party apps, like, why fight it? Why not just accept that people really need this tool? Let's put this into your platform so more people do stay on your platform. I think it's incredible, but I do have a lot of hesitation and fear. I mean, not fear, but I know that there are going to be glitches, right? So we just have to accept it, and we have to work through it, be aware of it, and let ourselves, you know, not get hooked on or too wrapped up in these glitches that they're going to happen. So just take it day by day and keep practicing with different ways that we can use the tool. I'm excited to see how it works for people.
I think when we finally get it in our hands, it's going to be a real test of how successful or maybe not as successful as we were hoping for it. I'm going to kind of take a moment to describe the workflow. And this is one of the things that I am so happy to hear about. To actually schedule an Instagram Reel, there's not really much of a difference in regards to the workflow. You create the Reel as you normally would. From my understanding, you can still add music, you can still add the stickers, you can add everything that you were able to prior. And when you get to that page of the share a post or share a Reel page, where you're putting in all the information, the only difference is now you hit the advanced settings feature. Once you hit advanced settings, you then tap on schedule this post option, where it pops up a calendar and you're able to actually schedule out in advance. And we'll discuss how far in advance you could schedule out, because there is a limit, but you can decide to schedule out what you want to actually post, whether it's a reel, a carousel, or a single image post. And once you put that into the calendar, you just navigate back to your regular workflow. Instead of hitting the tap post button, you tap a schedule button. And that's the only difference in regards to scheduling these reels. Just like you guys, I said, yes, IG finally listened. Mosseri even stated it himself. He introduced it as a finally feature. Like, finally, they've actually worked towards this actual update and gave us what we want. But there are still some questions that I have in mind. How it's going to work, what it might affect, as well as some of our other content aspects. With our initial reaction out of the way, obviously now comes a point where you want to start considering how are we actually going to use this feature. Meg, do you have any ideas on how you're going to move forward with it? And is it going to be different from how you schedule posts now?
Yes. So my thought, especially when it comes to Reels, because I personally have a big mixture of the style of reels that I do. Some of them are talking face to camera, some of them are with a trending sound in the background, some of them are like an actual trend, like the voiceovers or the specific trendy transitions that are going around. So for me, it's important to have flexibility in my content strategy. I plan to test it out first off, see how it goes. If it really works, great. To use it for my talking face to camera or my series that I do, where I can batch those in advance and allow myself to still have that flexibility of the day of doing some trends. So not everything that I create is going to be scheduled, but the very like solid, I know what I'm talking about here on these days based on my content strategy, those will be scheduled out.
Yeah, I a lot of the time up to now, I've been sort of creating content on the day and posting it. Would you believe? I'm one of those people who like to literally create it and post it, and then just sort of keep on top of it from there.
Let the inspiration hit you at the day, right?
Yeah, it's just a routine I got into. So with carousels, I can bang them out in about an hour and then get it posted and whatever. But I'm trying to batch ahead a little bit more, and I think this scheduling app, actually being in the app, is going to make that easier. And what I want to do, I tend to post every other day at the moment, and on the off days in between posting a carousel or single posts, I'm hoping to put some reels in there. So being able to create some of those ahead of time and schedule them into those slots is going to be the game changer for me, because reels is something I really haven't taken full advantage of at this point. I've done a few, I've had okay success with them. They've done as well as I thought they can, but it's something I want to grab hold of a bit more, because I think the fact that they're getting pushed a lot more, as we know, as Instagram have already told us, it's something I need to be getting more reach, and I think reels is the way to do that. So I need to be doing that 2-3 times a week. So I think the scheduling is going to allow me to batch create those ahead of time, schedule them in, and let them go.
For myself, I think I'm more like you, Meg, in regards to some of the content I plan to batch. It is good, it's evergreen, and I don't have to actually schedule it or do it today, But then there is that type of content, more the trending content, that it changes from day to day almost. I think if you put that into your content strategy in a very strategic way, you'll still be able to be successful no matter how you go about it. With my personal content, at least on this account of Social Varsity, I like the flexibility. So I'm going to be doing both. My client work, I'm scheduling everything now. My clients are going to get like a good month's worth of scheduling, including reels that have music and stickers on it now. It opens up the door so much better in regards to that. I do want to hint on one thing though. I have a personal account it's a fitness motivational page. What I generally do is I'm one of the crazy people. I schedule out an entire year of content, and then I schedule it using Later, and I just publish everything, or I schedule it out and put it into Later for an entire year. I never really have to go in there and publish by hand. As great as this feature sounds, there's a limitation on it that I want to kind of discuss in our next question, that would not allow me to schedule up to an entire year in advance. There are still some drawbacks. As much as we're looking at it, waving a flag and celebrating of how great IG Rails scheduling is, there's still some things to consider that I hope that more people truly consider and put into effect in regards to how they move forward with their content strategy. But that now leads me to my next question, which I kind of led in with that, is what do you think are the disadvantages and some of the drawbacks of what we might be facing now that we could actually schedule reels natively on Instagram?
Well, like you were kind of hinting at, the length of time we can schedule things out, only I think 75 days, right? And so there are people, like you just said, which I didn't know that, you have the account that you plan a whole year. That's crazy. That's
I'm crazy. I'm crazy.
So cool, like set and forget. But yeah, that's a huge setback for people who do plan a lot in advance. And maybe it's not so much of a setback, it's something that they have to rework, right? So rearranging the way that you are pre-scheduling and putting that into your personal calendar so that you can break it up, I wouldn't even push it to 75. I'd do it like every 70 days or so to give yourself some leeway, because life. But that's a pretty big thing to consider if you want to switch from the platform, maybe your third-party platform that you were using, to this one.
Yeah, the only thing I see is if you're somebody who likes to use a lot of the trending audio, if you're going to schedule a reel out with the trending audio and schedule it for 30 or 60 days time, by that time it's not going to be trending anymore. So those kind of things you're going to have to sort of get your head around a little bit. If it's a trending one, make sure that's at the front of the queue and not 70 days down the road. But I think 75 days is, it doesn't sound a lot in some ways, but you know, that's a fair bit of time. Really, it's 2.5 months. You know, that it's still looking a fair distance forward. You know, I never schedule anything beyond sort of a couple of weeks personally. I don't know how a lot of other people do it. I suppose it depends on your workflow and whether you're doing client work and all this kind of thing. And as far ahead as you can get as possible is good in a way, but it's keeping that flexibility of being able to just pop it in as and when you need to. But 75 days, I mean, it's a starting point. You know, maybe it's something they'll increase in the future.
Definitely see them increasing, especially when you start to compare them to their competition like Later and Metrocode and some of those other ones. You could do pretty much an entire year in advance. I think Instagram is going to have to actually increase that number. If I had to name a disadvantage or something that we should be considering, I will say this. Listen, we have trust issues with Instagram Reels draft folder. We know that we cannot trust the draft folder. When we put drafts in there, the wisest strategic decision that you could do is to make sure that you save that reel to your phone. If you want to put it back in a Google Drive or one of those type of solutions, do it, because we don't know if all of a sudden Instagram has an outage like they did last week, if we get signed off, if we lose our phone and we have to use another. But that mistrust issue that I have with Instagram, that's why I don't batch too far ahead, a week's worth of reels. So that's like 3 or 4. If I lose 3 or 4, I'm fine. Now, if I go ahead and plan out like a good 70 days worth, and I got like a good few dozen, and I lose it, I am upset, and I'm going to go quick. I would rather, at that point, I would rather pay for Later and those solutions, even though they're third party, than to actually have these mistrust issues with Instagram if scheduling is going to work like their drafts. But I want to take it now to the audience, because we are obviously excited for it. We have a little bit of reservation, but I want to know from those that are watching, are you guys excited for Instagram Reels scheduling? You know, now we can schedule it not on a third-party app, we can schedule it on Instagram. I want to know if you guys are excited. Simply put an emoji in the comments of a thumbs up if you are excited. If you're not excited for it, if you're a little bit cautious, you want to see how it works out, I completely understand. Put a thumbs down for now if you're still just a little bit wary in regards to the idea of IG scheduling. I think we all been able to kind of share some great tips today in regards to how to actually improve your content strategy and move forward. As I like to say, always step your grandma. If you enjoyed that conversation about Instagram Reel scheduling, show a little love and support. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you won't miss my latest video. If you're looking for more information all about Instagram Reels, such as what are Reels bonuses and how to make your next reel go viral, check out the playlist on the screen. I hope to see you at the next video.